All right, go ahead and call the September 14th council meeting to order. Ask clerk to take a roll.
Walters.
Here.
Vogel.
Here.
Dvorak.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Sarchet.
Present.
First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I have no additions or corrections. I take a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries. It's time to close the regular meeting and open the public hearing on the proposed adoption of a 5-year capital improvement plan for the city of Polk City. Ask the clerk when the notice was published.
September 4th, sir.
Any written comments for or against other than the one I have?
No, that is the only one. Do you
Okay.
want me to read it? Or?
You can go ahead and read it. I'll let you do it if you've got a copy.
Yes, I do.
Perfect.
It came from Mark Lambert at 811 Edgewater Drive. He states, I have read through the proposed City of Polk City Capital Improvements Plan. My only comment is that I'm strongly in support of items 14 through 22 in the CIP programs listing, which are the trail sidewalk extensions improvements, projects that connect the city's trails, and also the projects that connect the trails to the town square are wonderful improvements to the city that will help with the economic vitality of the city.
Great.
Excellent. Anything else?
No, sir.
Perfect. Chelsea, floor is yours.
I'm going to give a general overview of the CIP. So the City Council began to review proposed projects and equipment purchases at a work session in May. The City Council had follow-up meetings in June, July, and August to finalize a proposed 5-year plan. The plan includes years 2020 through 2025 and a total proposal of $1,940,809 in capital equipment purchases and $18,945,450 in capital projects. The plan also designates potential funding sources for each activity, and a full copy of the plan has been available for viewing on the city's website.
Excellent. Jenny, is there anybody on the phone who wishes to be heard for or against the proposed CIP?
No, sir.
Excellent. Anybody have any questions, comments for Chelsea? Otherwise, I need a motion to close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting.
I guess I would just add, we went, well, I'll wait till my portion at the end. I was going to talk about the parks, talking about the CIP in their meeting too, but I don't want to, I'll give Jason the opportunity to hit on that if he wants to and then touch there. But I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2020-97.
I have to close the hearing first, Rob.
Well, fine, I'll do that then.
Second.
Sorry.
Roll call.
Walters.
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Motion carries. Now, resolution 2020-97, approving a 5-year capital improvement plan for the city of Polk City.
Now I will make that motion.
Second.
Questions, comments, concerns? Roll call, please.
What we talked about
Oh.
before, I appreciate all the work that's gone into this. I'm excited. I hope people are. So I guess there is a question. Jenny, is there any way to know how many people have clicked on that on the website?
Probably. I do not know the answer though, as far as how many it would be. So I'll have to look at that.
Okay. If there's anything, and I know what you guys need another thing to do, like you need a hole in your head, but anything else we can do to get this out there? Because again, not just because there's positive feedback, but I just think it's really good work. So that's it.
You just need roll call now, or do you have a motion? Yeah.
Vogel.
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Walters.
Yes.
Motion carries. Time to close the regular meeting and open the public hearing for the proposed amendment to the 2016 comprehensive plan entitled Imagine Polk City, a bridge to the future. Ask the clerk when the notice was published.
September 4th.
Any written comments for or against this?
No, sir.
Staff, can you provide a report, please?
I can do that, Mayor. The purpose of this is to change the land use for the site that's designated for the school to a civic use. That's the primary change. We are also proposing with that East Vista Lake Street would be changed to a collector street as well. And then there's some minor changes to the open space where it's on the west side and then with a open space along the south side of the school site that would be for a trail.
Is there anyone on the phone who wishes to be heard for or against this proposed amendment? Kenny? Perfect. Any questions for Kathleen? Looks like I just need a motion to close this public hearing and reopen the regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, resolution 2020-98, approving an amendment to the comp plan for an area in the vicinity of 220 East Vesta Lake Avenue. Need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments, concerns? Roll call, please.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries. It's time again to close the regular meeting and open another public hearing on the proposed rezoning petition of property located in the vicinity of 220 East Vista Lake Avenue from M1C2 R2 and R3 to R1 single family. Ask the clerk when the notice was published.
September 4th.
Any written comments for or against?
No, sir.
Excellent. Kathleen, is this on you again?
Sure, I can go over it, Mayor. The current site that you're looking at is the school site, which also includes Lot 1 and eventually Outlot Z of what will be platted as Big Creek Technology Campus Plat 4. So it includes the lot that they're developing as well as an area to the west between the school site and North 3rd, which would be remaining undeveloped. The current zoning in that area is a little bit of a hodgepodge of R2, R3, as well as commercial piece and M1. But they are rezoning the entire property to R1 so that it allows schools as a permitted use.
Anyone on the phone who wishes to be heard for or against this proposed rezoning? Jenny?
No, sir.
Nope. Anybody have any questions for Kathleen?
I've had some questions asked of me from residents of on Madison who are trying to figure out exactly what will be behind them.
The school has submitted a site plan. I don't know for sure if it's when it will be going to P&Z for their consideration and then to City Council. However, what they're showing is a school building on Lot 1, which is the east portion of that lot.
Okay, so the school will back up to their properties because some of them seem to think they saw a map that showed other houses backing up to them.
No, the school does, the south boundary of the school's property is the north boundary of Door Frank Acres.
All the way up.
Yeah, there are no homes between the school. The school building is located more on the north side of the lot. As the site plan that we've got at this point does show retaining the existing tree boundary that's down there now. So, but the site plan's still evolving. So,
okay, well, their biggest concern is because of the last proposal out there, they didn't want to see any more of the same back there. they weren't totally opposed to single family, but I got the feeling that they would be much happier with a school as a neighbor.
Yeah, the school, there won't be any homes between the school and Door Frank Acres.
So Kathleen, my question is along those similar lines, and that those folks in Door Frank are well served to be wary at this proposal, but we're not rezoning directly north of Door Frank, but the school owns that property.
No, that is being rezoned to R1. It currently is a combination of R2 and R3.
Yeah, the chunk that's closest to 3rd Street, but the other looks like the remaining what would that be, 7 or 8 houses on the west, on the east end of Madison. We're not rezoning, but that is the school's property as well.
That's being rezoned too. Everything that's, if you look on that cover sheet, everything that has the boundary around it, the shaded area is the lot on the east 2/3. That 26 acres is where the school site is, and the west area that's unshaded, and I apologize, I'm looking at a black and white copy, so I don't know the colors, is that area is to be left kind of as woodlands. So the school is on the east portion of the property, and the rezoning does go all the way to north to the south, to the north line of Door Frank Acres, or the south line of their property.
I'm looking, I see that in the shaded part, but I'm looking at the satellite. There's 3 pages of satellite photos after that page, and it doesn't look like anything other than the first section right on 3rd is highlighted. The other parts aren't.
Possibly there are 4 separate rezonings, or 4 separate parcels included in the rezoning. One of them, I'm speculating on what you're looking at, but there's a commercial piece that's along 3rd. There is Kathleen,
it's the maps that went out with the notice. So it's the 4 separate areas that define what is currently M1. C2.
Right. Yeah. All 4 of those areas will be rezoned to R1. There's right now there are 4 different zoning districts, but they will all be R1 when this is done.
Right, but I just want to confirm. So the school now owns the length of the property north from the folks that live on.
Well, not yet, because Big Creek Technology Campus Plat 4 has not been final platted. It's been to P&Z, but not council. So since it hasn't been platted, the property can't be sold yet. So you will see a final plat for Big Creek Technology Campus Plat 4 before the school buys the property. Does that make sense?
It does, because it didn't look like, and again, we're probably getting ahead of ourselves for rezoning here, but to Ron's question, if eventually the school owns all the land directly north of the folks that live on Madison.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. There's your answer, Ron.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Need a motion to close this public hearing and reopen the regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, first reading of ordinance 2020-1500, rezoning 31.8 acres located in the vicinity of 220 East Vista Lake Avenue from M1, C2, R2, and R3 to R1 single family. Need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, public comments. Time and place for comments for any item other than those in a public hearing. Jenny, is there anyone on the phone who wishes to speak tonight?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Moving on to consent agenda. I would take a motion, please.
So moved.
I'll make
Second.
a second and then add a comment. So on item I, thank you for pushing this through. I think the body worn cameras make those guys safer and also increase transparency, and with everything going on, I think that's a good move, Jeremy. So thank you for doing that.
Yes, you're welcome. It's something I've been hoping to do this year, and I feel like our whole department's on board with this, so it'll be a good move for us all.
Good call it, Rob.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that. It's money well spent, and thank you for your department stepping up too, Jeremy. That's appreciated.
Absolutely.
Need a motion, please?
You have a motion and a second, sir.
Excellent. Then you can take roll.
Dvorak,
That's what I meant.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Motion carried. Next item, resolution 2020-102, accepting public improvements for 12 Oaks Plat 3. Kathleen, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, if you recall, the final plat was approved, but it was approved with an agreement to complete in place because the public improvements, including the punch list items, were not done. Those have been completed. There was a cul-de-sac that a portion of it needed to be removed in order to make sure that the drainage worked properly, and that's been completed. So we're now at a point where we can recommend acceptance of the public improvements and return of the developer's check.
Great. Questions, comments, concerns, or a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet.
Motion carries. Next item, East Grimes Street and Deer Haven Street intersection repairs project. First item, resolution 2020-103, approving change order number 1 in the amount of a negative $144.70. Who's going to jump at that one?
Mayor, this was just the final adjustment of quantities and adjusted in the city's favor.
Excellent. Need a motion on that, please.
So moved.
Second. Did everybody go to sleep?
Roll call.
Anderson,
Saving $144.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, resolution 2020-104, approving payout number 4, sub-final in the amount of $1,282.50. Anything else to add on that, Kathleen?
Just that we're also recommending acceptance of the project. The certificate of completion was provided. It did take a while to close this one out, mainly because of grass. This has been a tough year to get grass to grow. So they finally achieved their 70 required percentage of completion. So.
I'll make a motion on resolution 2020-104.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel,
Yes.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next item, approve engineering services agreement with Snyder and Associates in the amount of $27,200 for the 2021 street repair project.
I can take this one, Chelsea, if you want me to. Okay. Yeah, this is the 2021 street project. We're just trying to get going forward with it. We're trying to get ahead of where we usually are. We're usually trying to get these things bid out, and we're right in the spring construction season, so we're kind of ahead of the game here, but we want to get that bid out. This is the first step in the process, is approving the engineering contract so we can get the information down on paper, and so we can move forward with the bidding of this project. This project is going to be approximately $250,000 in repairs, and the list of locations was in the packet for you to look at. And this was taken from the Public Works Master list that is identified about a $750,000 worth of improvements. So that's the ongoing list that you folks have seen before.
Mike, I've had some calls about Davis Street from Roosevelt to where the new pavement is, about the potholes there and the south end of Roosevelt. That's not on the list. I don't think.
It is not. That's actually deteriorated here in the last couple years. It will make it to the list, but also I don't know what the project is to the south, but there is some improvements on that intersection from that development if it happens. So we could see some improvements with that construction, but I couldn't give you a timeline on that. But we are trying to at least put cold patch in there because we've had some calls on it and we're up there trying to patch every, month.
And also, if you've ever rode a bike down the north end of Parker, there's some pretty big holes up there.
Yes, and some of that is on the list.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Need a
That's all I
motion?
have, unless- yeah.
No, good job.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vogel,
Yes.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Walters.
Abstain.
Motion carries. Next item, determination on resuming in-person meetings. Chelsea?
Yes, so I'm going to provide a little bit of follow-up after we tried to have a staff meeting up at Luana. It did not go as smoothly as I think we anticipated, but I do think that we learned some valuable lessons. So I've proposed to the council 3 things that we could do to proceed with meeting. So the first one is resume city council meetings at Luana Community Room, but the stipulation would be that we would all participate in person. So adding Zoom into the mix just created probably more problems than we needed to deal with. They also don't have a phone line up at the community room, so we couldn't use conference call. However, we could allow up to 23 people in the room at a time. That is appropriate 6 feet spacing out as well. So that would allow for 6 elected officials, 7 staff members, city attorney, city engineer, and we could have up to 7 members of the public in at a time. We could do like a rotation basis if we wanted to have meetings up at Luana. So everyone would need to wear masks until they got to their designated spot. As long as they're socially distanced, we could remove masks for the portion of the meeting. We could record the meeting. It would not be live and the quality would not be the best since the room's so large and we're so spread out, but we would have the capability to record the meeting if we wanted to proceed with having meetings up at Luana Community Bank. Second option, resume city council meetings at City Hall. So we could have 8 people in City Hall. City Hall makes a nice option because it allows us to have our conference phone. So we would just allow 8 people into City Hall, and those people that want to conference in would phone conference in. Again, the running the second platform via Zoom just makes it very challenging for us. There's just not enough bandwidth for that many people to upload video via Zoom. So we're really throwing that out as an option. If we have meetings at City Hall, everybody will have to wear a mask, and unfortunately we won't have room for the public because we'll be capped out at 8 people. However, the public can still participate via conference call. We can record the meeting and live stream the meeting at City Hall, so I think that is a real plus. So third, continue to have meetings remotely utilizing Zoom. And I just made the recommendation that if we go this route, we should try to put a date on when we're going to continue meetings through Zoom through. MPO announced earlier this month that they're going to have all of their meetings remote through the end of the new year. So if we're going to continue via Zoom meetings and electronic meetings, I think that we should probably just pick a date and stick to it. So I'm giving the council some options. All three of these are doable. So as long as we have kind of a consensus from the council, we could do any three of these options and make it work.
Well, I think I've made my feelings known in the past, and so I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And what we're doing now is working, so 3 would be my choice.
Well, in a similar vein, I've made my opinions known. I do appreciate the extended period of time getting wrapped around the axle on this. Every week is starting to wear. Every meeting is starting to wear. But I don't see any reason why Luena can't be safe. I get, MPO. I think we're more analogous to what the school board's doing. I'm not for sure. I think they're in person. There's other places that are in person. If we're 6 feet apart, I don't think that's compromising any safety. I know talked about it at the P&Z meeting, and they seemed willing to go the Luena route, those that talked. So my final point, I guess, is I think we're going to have some topics over the remainder of the year that will be of significant public interest. And so I would challenge the notion of if it ain't broke, don't fix, because I don't think this, as we saw with the water changes, this accommodates for people's desire to make their opinions known. So that's where I'm at. Maybe we could look at changing the title of the meeting. If council meetings are too dangerous to do in person, we can change the name to some of the other meetings that people are willing to meet in person on. But
So I just want to make sure I'm following. So if we do Luena, though, there is zero opportunity for anybody to participate from the outside, right? Everybody has to physically be there. So no one can call in and no one can Zoom, right? Like us and the public.
Too challenging. We tried that through our staff meeting. We just had one person Zoom in, and it was very behind. I don't know how else to describe it other than I think for our staff meetings, our preference is certainly to just continue to have via Zoom if we have to go through that again. That being said, I do think that there's enough room up there that we can spread out if the council wants to go that route and go in person. And I'm not trying to pressure you, Ron. However, I think that we need to be on one platform. That's where we come up with our challenges, is when we try to operate multiple platforms. So
I'm fine with, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Middle of the road option is to have the meeting at City Hall. And then if you don't want to participate in person, you can call it.
I can say that option number 2 is what we've been trying to do a handful of times with the MPO. And I don't feel it works very well. When you're in the meeting in person, those people seem to do a little bit better. And when you are calling in remotely, you're kind of on the periphery, and it's just not the same. To me, it's an all in, all out deal. If we can't all be in, then we all need to all be out. Otherwise, you lose sense of the meeting.
2's out for me as well.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great, but what Dave said here a couple weeks ago, well, if you got masks on, you can't see anyone anyway. What's the point? It's kind of silly. I also do. I'm in for whatever. I also do empathize with Ron, because I think Ron is in a peculiar spot, because we have to all be in or all be out, and I know where Ron sits on it.
for, his own reasons. But so with that, I am open to whatever. I'm not concerned about that, but I do want to just for us to realize, and Ron, I understand where you're at. So with that, I'm still open to whatever, but I do feel for Ron on this position.
Well, I think staff, Chelsea said the same thing with staff too. If there's a level of, if they're not to a level of comfort of being in person, then we need those people in, or, all in or all out as well.
I think we're comfortable meeting in person. It's the maneuvering a meeting electronically and in person that none of us have, the patience for. Our staff meetings typically run 15 to 20 minutes long, usually just giving each other updates. And it was just frustrating that day trying to utilize Zoom when most of us were in person.
Yeah, I get that point. I guess, not to put you on the spot, but to Dave's point, we talked, to me, option one is similar to what we did with the community visioning, and are planning to do Thursday with community visioning. And I thought, Ron, you had expressed that you felt safe doing that when we did it. So, but you're not willing to do it for council meetings?
Yes, I did. I said that and I meant it. But what were the numbers that night? There weren't 10 people there, was there?
No, but I mean, based on the guidance, you're either wearing a mask or you're not, or you're 6 feet apart or you're not. But as the number is below whatever that calculation is.
Well, that ranks right up there with you either get it or you don't.
Yeah. I'm not going to pressure you into this. I think it's going to cause problems here in a couple weeks, but.
Well,
So what do we want to, go ahead. Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
I appreciate staff's effort in going through these exercises. I brought it up and I appreciate it. What it really does, bigger than this, is it really shows some weaknesses we have with our infrastructure at City Hall. It's not the staff. It's not that they're incapable of running meetings by any means. You guys have done a great job in the past 6 months, just like you have for years prior. It's showing a weakness in our technology that we have there. It shows a weakness in our contractor who can't come in and fix things and make things work. I mean, the fact that staff has to run home to start up a meeting at night, that's not good. We need to figure that out. We're paying someone enough money to make things operate. They need to operate to the extent possible, especially to Rob's point here. In the next few months, if we have some critical meetings coming up, we need participation, and we need to make whatever platform we have work, short term and long term.
I would point out that we have just the people that are on the phone right now, so council, mayor, staff, and we have room for 8 other people based on the 23 numbers. So 8's not a lot if you've got a developer there presenting something, or you have public in. And one of the challenges that I personally saw from us doing the staff meeting is, since you can't do Zoom, right now we have visibility of everyone on the screen. Nobody's masked. We can see who's saying what. Yes, I know it's not in person, but there still is some body language. When we did it in Luana, only an ability to record the message. You can't have anybody call in. So if you get 8 more people in there, the rest of the public isn't going to be allowed in, like what Ankeny was doing, Amy described. Granted, they have a bigger facility, but. And then the second thing is where, when you space people out, when you try to video that, the video does not capture faces. And even with a good mic, as Walter, as you expressed, I still don't think you're going to have the clarity that we do on these videos. I was able to get all of the backlog videos uploaded know it's still not real time, but right now I feel like the public has less restriction on reaching us through the phone than they would if, let's say we had 3 presenters at the meeting. Now you're down to only allowing 5 people in the public. And if we are going to have those meetings that are significant from a public standpoint, I just don't know where that fairness, for lack of a better word, is, where you would stop people from being able to come in and speak to council. Whereas
Well,
on the phone, it's unlimited.
I don't know why you would need to stop people coming in. There's a rotation, but you do bring up another problem that we have. And again, I mean, I know you guys have more to do than you have time to do it, but we can't be a month or a month and a half delayed in posting meetings. To me, allowing people to go to the meeting in person is more important than the ability to live stream and then be as delayed in posting them as we are.
Well, and legally, we don't have to video or post. Legally, I do have to do the minutes. So as long as staff is getting the minutes out there, we're meeting our legal responsibility. I certainly understand if council prefers to have video minutes, but just for that purpose, to know that we're one of the few communities, like I think Amy mentioned, that Ankeny doesn't video under regular conditions. Now, we don't have to do everything like everyone else does, but I just want to put that out there. That
Yeah, I'm not aiming for the minimum legal requirement. I'm aiming for the most public access.
So what do you guys want to do to proceed? Do you want to, are we going to continue to have electronic meetings for the next 2 months, 3 months, through the end of the year? I'd like to try to nail down where the other council members are coming from and what your thoughts are.
I wonder if there is, again, I really appreciate all the work you put into this and these 3 options, but I wonder if there, is maybe a 4th option, which could be maintaining the status quo for these meetings. But if we do have things that we think are going to, draw out more attention, or people want to have in-person conversations, to have a special meeting or a community forum, or, something so that we are more available for those specific topics. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, finding some way to do the in-person, but yeah, with the Luena option, again, I don't know that we'll have a ton of people that try to come, but the fact that the only way to access the meeting would be in person, whereas right now, anybody can call in. So that's my hesitation with the Luena option.
So we could definitely try to throw a 4th option in there. Like if we had like a certain thing that a lot of people were interested in and wanted to find information out, you want to have like a informational session on.
I'm just, throwing that out there. If we think there are things that are gonna, we really need to hear our citizens' opinions on, is that an alternative means versus either restricting callers from calling us if we go the Luena option, or not being accessible in person. Just tossing the idea. And again, not that has to be a formal option, but yeah, just brainstorming.
I think the advantage to what we're doing right now is it gives the flexibility to those who may or may not feel comfortable, along with those who feel comfortable, right? I think this is probably the best option that we've got right now. And, unfortunately, as the case may be, all it is one phone call from the school to find out that any number of us could be quarantined at home with our kids. And this at least gives us the flexibility to still be able to participate in meetings and not be forced into a situation that we have to go possibly, put ourselves in a position where it would be an uncomfortable situation for others.
So what if we continue to have meetings virtually, And if a major topic comes up that the council feels like they would like to have an in-meeting person for, or send some sort of city representation to, we work that factor in.
Could we, along those lines, if we had that issue, could you have a, public forum where it wasn't necessarily a council meeting, so you only had 2 representatives available and a city staff or something, so you could decrease the amount of total public there, and then they can bring those input, you could bring those comments back to a meeting or something along those lines? And just trying to give some more flexibility and not have as many people in the room, rather than having an actual council meeting, but more of a community forum to elected officials. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility.
As I said, I'm open to whichever. If it's all or none, then we need to stick together, and it's none. I mean, right? I mean, that's how we operate. All or none being we either all have to decide on a certain thing, and if we can't, that's fine. I mean, we'll just go with what we have. Is that right? I mean, that's what I'm hearing. So it's all fair.
Okay. So do we need any formal recommendation here, Chelsea? Well, how do you want to handle that?
No, I don't think so. I'm going to leave it off of the agenda. If somebody requests that it be placed on a future agenda, I will add it. But for the sake of not talking about it every meeting, unless something changes, I'm going to leave it off of the agenda for the future.
Okay. Okay. Anything else on that topic?
No. Nope.
Okay. Moving on to reports and particulars. Staff, you got anything? Shake your head. Yes, no, maybe so.
I just
Anyone?
My officer Alex Delaney is graduating from the academy on Wednesday, so you might be seeing him out on the road. We'll have a little bit of field training to do when he gets back, and then he'll be out on his own. So if you see him or run into him, please make him feel welcome.
Excellent.
I would say thanks for the work session. I think it went well. Good discussion, good conversation. Thanks for allowing us to have input.
Council, have anything?
I do have something. I know it's been a few minutes ago now, but my dad sent a thank you to me. It's right here. That's the most words I've ever seen him write, because he does not talk much, and this is probably one of the longest sentences he's ever put together. But take this at that, because this means a lot to him. He said, "Thank you for the vase of flowers. They brightened my day. Thank you again for caring." So again, it's been a while. I do appreciate it. He's about half the person he used to be, but he's still with us. So we'll take every second of that. And I just wanted to thank everybody from the bottom of my heart. And the fact that my dad's never written a note that I know of, nor does he talk much, but he gives hugs and he says he does that. So thank you very much, guys, for everything and for putting that together. That's what's really most important in life is life and caring for others. So I do appreciate that.
Anybody else?
I just want to make comment to a few of the items on the consent agenda. We had a lot of approvals for some public safety, for equipment, cameras, pay increases for staff, and along the lines of what Jim said, I think we had a good productive work session that is going to help out our departments in the future, both for staffing as well as with the CIP getting approved. So I think kudos to all of us to keeping our community as safe as we possibly can.
I agree with what Jeff just said, and I think with my input, at the end of the day, no matter how it goes, we're probably going to make the right decision.
Agreed.
And I just
Anything
wanna,
else? I do have something. Go ahead.
no, my last thing was just a thank you to, I think, was it Mark Lambert that expressed the comment on the CIP. For people in the community to take the time and read those documents, that's the best way to understand what we're looking at moving forward, especially now that we've, staff has put so much time and effort into this. So yeah, an encouragement to everybody out there to take a look at it, read it. But I also am very glad that we were able to prioritize trails and parks. Those are the the quality of life things, or the easy things to push down the road when money gets tight. So again, really appreciative of all the efforts that have gone into the CIP, the work session we had earlier today. So thanks again, everybody.
Yes, and a comment from him, and I hope he talks to a lot of people, that that makes you feel good when we're doing something along those lines, that we know it's important to the majority of the people in Polk City. I hear it all the time. I had a big conversation with some people in Wolf Creek last week about they're still waiting to get a trail from Wolf Creek to downtown. So it's good to know that. I hope they've read that.
Anybody have anything else? Okay, I got just a couple quick things, and I did want to comment to that on the body cameras and the citywide security system cameras too. That's long overdue, that citywide security camera system. So I'm glad you guys are able to get that. And the body cameras, I wanted to comment to that too, because I know I've had conversations now with 3 police chiefs in my tenure here in this seat, and I'm really glad to see we finally got it done, and that it's not being taken as Big Brother watching over you, but being taken on for your own safety and protection. And I'm just really happy to hear your guys are all on board with it, Chief. So that's great. Chief Mitchell, I do have something for you, and I'm going to just kind of paraphrase some of this, but I know he contacted Chelsea, and he ended up writing a really nice letter. And Chief, you guys got called to a lightning strike during the derecho storm, and we had a really nice letter come through. And honestly, having previously wore your shirt, maybe just a little different, but having previously been in that role, it was pretty cool to see it. And he wrote a 2-page letter talking about the fire department, and but there were a couple lines in here that were interesting, if nothing else. But so real quick, he had a fire on Meadowlark Drive during the derecho, and I was a little nervous, Jim, when I first read this, because he says, "This letter is first and foremost acknowledgement of my appreciation for your members and their actions or inactions." We'll get to those in a minute. So I was a little concerned about your inactions. But anyway, he went on to talk about that no one was home. Several neighbors were home, saw, and that you guys saw the lightning strike, and they called the fire department. You guys arrived shortly after. The only knowledge that I had of the call, or the only knowledge I had of the above events before was a garbled phone call from a neighbor that our home had been struck by lightning, was on fire, and the fire department had been called. By the time he arrived, the fire had been extinguished. The fire department was still there, wrapping up from the call, rolling hoses, storing ladders, etc. Jim, I assume you were rolling hoses, storing ladders, etc. But yourself, right?
Yes, I was.
Yes, the firefighter steered me to Chief Mitchell. We stood outside and spoke briefly about the roof damage from the strike, the subsequent fire, the extent of it, when they arrived, and the actions they took to control and extinguish. I vaguely recall the conversation because, quite frankly, I was relieved to come home to find my house and not a smoldering foundation. This is where I've come to the appreciation of the PCFD actions and or inactions, and I would like you and the council to be informed of. Somewhere during the conversation with Chief Mitchell about how they gained access inside my home without breaking any doors or windows, their inspection of every room, closet, basement, attic, and the thought occurred that the damage inside the home from fighting the fire likely exceeded the damage from lightning / fire. You know, insulation becomes waterlogged, soaked through the ceiling, a combination of water and the weight, ceiling falls to the floor, wires exposed, buckled hardwood. He says, being a general contractor, he has seen all of this before. Evidently, I said as much to the chief and remember him encouraging me to go inside, do a thorough inspection. And what he said was, well, was this. What I saw was, well, it was this. The only evidence that anything out of the normal was a steady drip of water from 2 recessed lights. The ceiling wasn't on the floor. No water spots had bled through. There was no muddy boot prints from firemen doing room-to-room searches. Nothing knocked over, nothing out of place, nothing. Only a few drops of water. By the time I walked to the interior and the extent of lack of damage registered, Chief Mitchell and the department had left. At that point, neighbors came to let us know what had happened and to give us a timeline. My wife and neighbor and I drug the wet attic insulation that afternoon before patching the roof. It became apparent how little water was used to knock down the fire. Evidently, all the water the neighbors spoke about PCFD pumping on the roof was used to cool the surrounding area and not being pumped into the attic. With a clearer head and greater appreciation for the outcome versus the possibilities of what might have been, I called Chief Mitchell the next day. It became clear the longer we spoke that they had thought through everything before acting, each step rather than simply reacting, and our home now reflects that thinking. And I thought this was very important. As restoration to our home continues, we've had multiple construction tradesmen, as well as insurance adjusters and a Slater firefighter in, on, over throughout our entire home. Without exception, all have commented on the lack of damage from fighting the fire. The insurance adjusters in particular hold the PCFD in high regard, not nearly as highly as our family does. I don't know the individual firefighters. Chief Mitchell does the quote, "Aw shucks, that's just what we do" act when I ask him to try and show any gratitude. But do me a favor and thank them for me. For us, it's personal. Respectfully, Bill Moore up on Metal Art. Typically, we would throw that in the packet. I didn't get that done before today. Jim, great job. Great job by you. Great job by your guys. Obviously, I take good pride in knowing that that's the way that they were trained and they're still being trained. And, you know, if there was a day where if there was a fire, you'd go knocking down people's doors and breaking windows. And that's just not that way anymore. So good job. I know it's not easy, and I know that you do that all shucks routine, but good job to you and your entire department. And I think it was worth sharing that letter.
Thank you. I'd like to spend a little more time after the fire with the homeowner and explain some options and things that will help them restore quicker. But we were off to other calls that day. We were busy. That was a busy day. But his gratitude was unbelievable, both on scene and then the day after when he called. He's a very generous guy. I appreciate his comments.
Yep.
And yours. Thank you.
Yep.
Totally. I appreciate them.
Yep. Great job. Just really good. I was very, very proud to get that letter, but I will tell you again, when I first read it and it talked about the inaction, I wasn't certain where this was going to go, Chief. So I was a little worried there for a minute. So
well, my goal
great
is,
job, and please pass that on.
Not to create more damage than the fire, right?
Yep. So
they did a good job. Thank you.
Yep. Great job. All right, that's all I have. Anybody have anything else? All right, I need a motion to go into closed section under Code of Iowa, Chapter 21, open meetings or official meetings open to public, closed session to discuss the purchase of particular real estate. Need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Barchett,
Yes.
Walters,
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Motion carries. I'll let you go through and figure out who's here.